Today's Thursday, welcome to your Pocket News where we're talking about pseudo-farmers, intrusive interviews and the internet. So let's go. A pseudo is a fake, and seemingly Europe is full of them. Well, pseudo-farmers at least. Guys and gals who fancy themselves as registered farmers, but only have one or two sheep decorating their front lawns. Marion Fisher-Bowl, a former farmer, is the EU Agricultural Commissioner, and in the heat of this week's controversy on farm subsidies, she's decided to get rid of all pseudo-farmers that are grazing on European soil. On behalf of the Commission, she proposes to reduce direct payments to farmers and lay out a minimum amount of land that farmers must own before they qualify for EU funds. So if you're a landowner and run a golf course, you'll no longer be applicable for EU handouts. The news stems from examination of the current €40 billion Common Agricultural Policy and the EC's reforms to give more money to small farmers and less to the big. The reforms would even affect the Queen of England, who in 2005 received no less than £456,000 in EU subsidies. Illegal immigration is still a sensitive topic for Europe. For evidence, just look at current affairs, in particularly at the military barracks in Chop, a city in the west of the Ukraine. The latter has become a trap for immigrants from Lebanon, Iraq, Moldova and Russia, all caught when attempting to cross the borders and enter the EU. Although geographically they are close to the EU, when trying to cross the border, it must seem far away. Garda borders are stopping them and sending them straight back to military camps to be deported home. Last week we spoke about the Schengen zone. The latter implies that in under a month, on the 21st of December, Hungary, Slovakia and Poland will join the EU's borderless zone. Are we walking into a crisis here? On the 20th of November 1959, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Declaration of Rights of the Child. So this Tuesday, we celebrated Universal Children's Day, an occasion that was suggested back in 1954 to recall international fraternity. But apart from hearing a brief radio bulletin on the event, my Tuesday was the same as any other. With that in mind, and with a willingness to at least draw a bit of light on the event, it's worth mentioning the European Child Safety Alliance's report that was published this week. After examining 18 countries, it deduced that if all the member states had the same level of safety as the safest country in the EU, we could avoid 6,700 deaths a year. Injuries are causing the most deaths among European children, and EU governments and industries have to do more to honour the UN Convention on the Rights of Children. The report deduced that Sweden is leading in implementing child safety measures and has the lowest child and adolescent death rate, and the worst? Greece, Portugal and Spain. The EU is currently preparing a mega census. In order to do so and to improve policy making, the Commission has pointed out its need for better quality info on how we live. Each member state would be responsible for distributing each census. The latter, just like any census, would quiz us on our nationality, race, family size and house, but also, and don't ask me why, on how many cars we own, whether we use a computer, what domestic appliances we use, and how many partners we've lived with. MEPs will have to vote on it before the Euro census arrives on our doorsteps, but if they think that all women in the EU are going to agree to give up-close and personal details about their consensual unions, they're very misled. And they'd want to take that into account before they spend a small fortune on printing the surveys. And finally, the debate of the century. Whether the internet is the best thing since sliced bread or an evil machine that will fry our brains. Do we live in reality? Or do most of us live for a virtual life of Facebook, MSN and text messaging? Me and you? I'm confident that we can distinguish. The problem lies with younger children and teenagers starting out and discovering the addictive virtual world. So with this in mind, the European Commission is appealing to young people up to the age of 19 to express their thoughts on the following. Life online is what you make of it. The competition is part of the EU's Safer Internet Day that will take place next January, and more details can be found. Well, that's all for today, Thursday. Have a good one. I'll see you again tomorrow in Euro Pocket News. Bye.